Welcome to this particular lecture on molecular biology, historical perspectives. In this particular series of lectures, we shall try to trace how the subject of molecular biology has developed with time, taking this particular journey from way back in 7000 BCE. You see, molecular biology is not only the development of gene, production of transgenic, transfer of gene, but it is also development of different strains of microbes, development of different products which are actually helpful for mankind, and at the same time they make their life much easy. It was the Chinese dynasty, that is the Xia, Shang and Zhou dynasty. They learned way back in 7000 BCE the art of making beer. And this particular terracotta tablet actually shows this beer manufacturing in ancient China. Then much later, it was in 4000 BC in Egypt. This particular drawing shows that they are preparing leavened bread, and this leavened bread is also utilized by mankind. And presently the technology has developed, but the bread has remained the same. And they are also knew the art of manufacturing the ale. That is also a drink. Much later, it was in 250 BC, that is, the agricultural development took place in Egypt. And this particular agricultural development shows the beautiful concept of rotation of crop. They developed the idea of biofertilizer. So they also used animal for the plowing of the field. Much later, it was in 100 BCE, the use of chrysanthemum was done by the Egyptians and the Romans, and also in Greece. This particular plant is unique. This plant produces a compound called pyrethrin, and this pyrethrin actually is a potent insecticide, which is an oleoresin. So the use of this plant was there as an insecticide, though the compound was not known. So that was also a development in molecular biology. But now, after 100 BCE, we take a long gap and we come to the discovery of cell. It was Robert Hooke, which was in the year 1663, discovered the first cell with this unique indigenous microscope which he used. And he used this microscope to study the Koch cell, and he named the cell because of this unique compartmentation, that is an area which is bound by a distinct cell wall. Much later, it was in 1675, Antony von Leeuwenhoek actually showed that this particular microscope which he discovered, this is the indigenous microscope designed by Leeuwenhoek, he showed that they can see the different microbes. And these microbes include bacteria, include protozoa, and not only that, he also showed that how these organisms can move or they produce a trail, and they called it moving animalcules. So that was in 1675. After that, it was in 1798, Dr. Edward Jenner actually developed a vaccine. This vaccine was against the dreadful disease of smallpox. This discovery was based on a simple observation. He observed that people who are engaged in milking cow, they are not really having the disease of smallpox. So he naturally understood that cowpox must be a protective agent for smallpox. So it was Dr. Edward Jenner who for the first time collected the pus from the person suffering from the cowpox, and this particular fluid was injected in a boy called James Phipps, and he was protected from this dreadful disease of smallpox. So that was the first vaccination, which is a remarkable discovery in the history of molecular biology. Much later, in 1824, it was Henri Dutrecht who actually made a unique observation. What was the observation? The observation was that each individual cells, like the adipose tissue, the neural tissue, the bone, the skin, cardiac tissue, intestinal tissue, or the skeletal muscle, they are formed of similar type of cell. So the concept of tissue was developed, and it was said that the tissues are formed of identical cells which have the almost similar origin and have some sort of similar function. Much later, it was in 1838, Jacob Berzelius and Gerrit Jan Mulder, they discovered a unique molecule, and this molecule is the protein. And what is protein? Basically, the protein is formed of carbon, hydrogen and nitrogen. And these proteins are formed of, now we know that they are formed of amino acids. And these amino acids are joined by a unique linkage, which is the CONH linkage. And this is called the peptide bond, and the protein may be called as polypeptide. So this protein structure was discovered by Berzelius and Mulder in 1838. And naturally, this protein, later on it was found out that they are the building blocks of every plant and animal body. Then we come to 1862. It was Louis Pasteur who actually discovered many things in microbiological world, but the most important discovery in the industry was that of fermentation. Actually, he for the first time used the earliest fermenter with anaerobic bacteria and produced a product which is an organic acid called glutamic acid. Though much later on the zymase from yeast was discovered, and the unique method of production of ethyl alcohol from sugar by microbe was discovered. So fermentation and the development of the indigenous fermenter, the credit goes to Louis Pasteur. Much later, it was only in 1863, this is the man who is Gregor Johann Mendel. Mendel at that point of time never knew of chromosome, never knew of the DNA, RNA or any other nucleic acid, but he discovered some laws of genetics. What was that discovery? He actually showed that pea plant, they had some contrasting character, and these characters included the spherical and the wrinkled seed. It included the yellow and the green seed. Flower may be purple and white, pod may be inflated and constricted, pod color may be green and yellow, flower position may be axial and terminal, and the stem may be long and dwarf. These characters were identified by Mendel, and they were called as contrasting characters. And one of these characters was dominant, one of these characters was recessive. And accordingly, he discovered the unique law of dominance, law of segregation, and law of independent assortment. What does it mean? It means that one character is dominant, one is recessive, and then in subsequent crosses, these characters will segregate during the formation of gametes. And not only that, if there are more than one pair of contrasting character, then this character will mingle with each other, producing new character which were not there in the parents. So these were called the law of dominance, the law of segregation, and law of independent assortment, and accordingly he was termed as the father of genetics. We come to a later discovery, that is the discovery by Prandtl in 1864. This is the discovery of a centrifuge. This is the centrifuge denoted by Prandtl. And this particular centrifuge, actually, he showed that this can be used in the separation of milk. And when this particular milk was separated, they will produce the cream, and naturally a skim milk is produced, which is very good for patients who want to avoid the fat in milk. So it is a unique discovery which will mean that the skimmed milk production can be done with a simple machine of centrifuge. And now this is a modern centrifuge. Of course, the discovery is credited to Prandtl in 1864. It was Friedrich Miescher. He actually discovered a unique molecule, and this molecule was none other than nuclein or nucleic acid or DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. This was the laboratory where he isolated the DNA, first DNA, and this DNA was isolated from the pus formed in a bandage. And this is the original culture where actually he had the nuclein isolated. And you know, much later on it was Watson and Crick who discovered the structure of DNA. But the credit of discovery of DNA is definitely with Miescher. In 1871, it was the Felix Hope Seyler who actually showed that there is a unique enzyme which is invertase. And this particular enzyme can be isolated from natural sources. And this enzyme has got this type of structure. But what does it do? It actually can break sucrose into glucose and fructose. That is, a simple disaccharide is broken to two monosaccharide molecule, that is glucose and fructose, and this particular invertase enzyme can actually produce monosaccharide, which can be directly used in nutrition or also can be a potent source of fermentation product. Now we come to Robert Koch. Koch is famous for the discovery of Koch's postulate. That is, every disease is caused by some organism, and this organism can be cultured and they can actually produce the disease again. But in this particular perspective, Koch is important because of two important discoveries. One was the art of staining bacteria. Bacteria which cannot be seen in the eye, they can be stained and they can be grown in nutrient medium. So this is a unique discovery where the bacteria can be cultured, and whenever it can be cultured, you can always use a molecule which can kill the bacteria. Much later, it was in 1878, Fleming who actually discovered the structural hierarchy of chromosome. What is chromosome? Chromosome was actually denoted earlier, but Fleming showed that chromosome follow a unique hierarchy. The thread-like structure which is seen is a condensed chromosome under the microscope. This chromosome is formed of unique condensed chromatin, and then the chromatin may be extended, and when it is extended, it is seen that the chromatin is formed of nucleic acid and histone protein, and they together will produce the structure of nucleosome, that is in 5, and finally the basic unit of that nucleosome being the DNA. So it is the DNA which is actually coiling around the histone core protein to produce the nucleosome, and the nucleosome aggregate to produce the chromosome, which is transmitted from one generation to the next generation, and thereby it will account for the transmission of genetic character or genetic flow across the generation. So this particular discovery actually indicate that how this genetic factor has been condensed within a very small chromosome, and that is responsible for the generation-wise transmission of character. It was in 1885, we again come back to Pasteur. Pasteur and one of his follower, Roux, they denoted the first rabies vaccine, and it was prepared from an attenuated rabies virus, and this particular attenuated rabies virus produced the first rabies vaccine, and it was administered on a boy called Joseph Meister, and he was actually protected from this dreadful disease, or rather I can say that it was Pasteur and Roux who protected the boy from the dreadful killer disease of rabies. But it is in 1919, Erecki, who is actually an Hungarian agricultural scientist, he for the first time coined the word biotechnology. That means the use of biological organism in technology. All these years people were doing that, but without knowing the word. So he is important, he is remembered in history for coining the word biotechnology, which begins or which starts a new era. It was in 1928, following a unique discovery of Sir Alexander Fleming, who showed that because of the penicillin produced by Penicillium, bacteria cannot grow. That was the beginning of the discovery of penicillin. Then it was Ernst Boris Chain and Howard Walter Florey. They together worked and purified this molecule from Penicillium, and it marked the beginning of the era of antibiotic with the discovery and application of penicillin. So accordingly, Fleming, Florey and Chain is remembered for the discovery of penicillin, which is the first antibiotic against gram-positive bacteria. And this was the original culture from where this penicillin was discovered, and that is the penicillin molecule having the unique center, which is the beta-lactam ring. And this particular antibiotic actually can act upon different bacteria having gram-positive character, though these days bacteria have become the penicillin resistant because they produce an enzyme which is penicillinase. It was in 1953, James Watson, Crick, Wilkins, and others, they actually studied the structure of DNA through X-ray crystallography. And with this discovery of DNA double helix, it was simply shown that the DNA is formed of two strands, and these strands are actually right-handed plectonomic coil, and this plectonomic coil is formed of two molecules, which is the pentose sugar and phosphoric acid. And in between the steps are there, and these steps are represented by the nitrogen bases, adenine and thymine joining with each other with 2 hydrogen bond, and guanine and cytosine joining with each other with 3 hydrogen bond. So AT and GC are actually keeping the strand in a balanced position. So the discovery of DNA is definitely a landmark in the history of molecular biology. Much later, it was in 1958, Jack Steele, he actually coined the word bionic. Bionic meaning use of the biological principle, biological processes in the manufacturing of different electronic item which will be directly used as a part of our organ. So that means a particular machine will be incorporated in human, and they will actually help in the functioning of human organ. And this bionics actually later resulted in the development of different organ, which included the robotic arm. And this robotic arm is nothing but a unique tool by which a person whose hand has been amputated can work like a normal person. Even in the same way, bionics resulted in the development of a unique left ventricular assist device of the heart. That is, a person who has shown left ventricular failure can survive with this unique device by which blood circulation can be restored into the left ventricle, and thereby that ailing person showing left ventricular failure can survive. So in this way, the development of this type of bionic tool has actually gave an extra lease of life to human beings. So we started this lecture with the unique fermentation ability of human beings recorded in 7000 BC, and then we took a journey forward, and as we moved forward, we ended up in bionics in 1958. It is not really possible to enlist all the major discoveries in molecular biology. So what I have tried is just to say some major epoch in the field of molecular biology, or through some light on the field of molecular biology which has changed our life. Thank you.